Thanks for joining. Thank you for joining our webinar today. I hope you've all had a wonderful day so far. Okay, so this webinar is being hosted on the behalf of Biz Biz Nurture. So Biz Nurture is an alternative lending venture incorporated in Nigeria with the goal of supporting the growth and aspiration of small and medium-sized businesses through the provision of alternative finance. So in summary, BizNurture is a financial company that provides loans for small businesses, specifically in Lagos and Port Harcourt, and we'll be hosting the webinar today. Our guest speaker for today is pharmacist Chima Ogbu. And before I bring him in, I'll just be giving you a brief intro on who our guest speaker is today. So our guest speaker, pharmacist Chima Ogbu, is the Chief Executive Officer of Medigate Pharmaceutical Company Limited in Port Harcourt and Rivers State. He is a good pharmacy practice and public healthcare advocate. He was sworn in 2019 as the chairman of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. He is also a former secretary of the PSN in Rivers State and the former national publicity secretary of the Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria. Pharmacist Chima is a team player with enormous social capital. And and he also believes in the universal principle of interconnectivity and independence in human relationships.
Please,
And to
the
his
volume
method,
can increase.
hello. Okay, sorry for that.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Okay, so can you just hold on a bit? I'm trying to introduce you in.
The volume, please. The volume.
Oh, volume. Okay.
Work on the volume. The volume.
Okay, so from his early days of obtaining a degree in pharmacy from the University of Nigeria in Suka, pharmacist Chima has grown to become an entrepreneur par excellence. He has attended several national and international conferences, seminar, training, and workshops organized by the ACPN, PSN, CPA, FIP, WAPCP, and several others. He was part of the Nigerian delegation to the historic 2012 FIP Centennial Ed in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. He is a renowned social media campaigner in the health sector and an administrator of several online health platforms and groups in Nigeria. In addition to the aforementioned qualities, pharmacist Chima has a deep passion for technology and business. He is also an innovative and performance-driven leader who adapts quickly to new and evolving challenges, and his life goal is to redefine impact. It is our great pleasure to welcome pharmacist Chima as our guest of honor to the November edition of BizNurture's Business Growth Webinar Series. So I'll be inviting you to speak with us and just say a quick hello to all of our audience. So, pharmacist Chima, you can introduce yourself now.
Everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, audience. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good
We
morning,
can hear you,
sir.
sir. Good
Good day,
morning, sir.
sir.
We can
From
hear
my
you.
from my end, it's not quite audible now. You okay? Good morning, and thank you, our wonderful moderator, Deborah, for the great intro. You have done a great job. And it's my pleasure to welcome all of us to this business session, where we'll be trying to look at ways and means of building and funding a thriving healthcare business, particularly in our sector, in our environment. Thank you very much and welcome, and do have a nice day. Hello,
Yes, we can hear you.
can you still hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I think I should continue and do a brief intro of
Continue.
we're all getting used to the new normal of learning, communication, and interactions on the virtual space. Today, my job is very simple as a speaker, is to lead us through exposition and exploration of what most of us already know. And of course, with regard to building and funding a thriving business, or healthcare business, particularly in Nigeria. Please, I will ask for indulgence for my little bias as we progress. I may be, biased pharmaceutically because it's understandable. I'm a proud pharmacist, and healthcare business in its entirety is still a subject of debate in some environments like ours, Nigeria in particularly. In the US today, healthcare is now strictly a business term. Healthcare has become a business term, but in our environment, due to the social and historical background, some people still believe that healthcare should be a social responsibility of the government, and to the level of even expecting free healthcare in some states and of the federation. But that is becoming a thing of the past. In as much as we agree with the maxim that a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, we should be prepared to join the global community in looking at healthcare as business. Apart from the professional requirements that is involved, there's also the business requirement, the business angle. So we look at healthcare in its totality, using the global model. You begin to look at the sub-segments involving the healthcare services and facilities. There is another segment involving the medical devices and the equipment. There's also the very important segment, you will understand, involving the pharmaceuticals and the related industries. And then we have the health insurance and health management services. My dear brothers and friends and sisters, effect healthcare and organizations, ideological, ophthalmological, pathological, laboratory, and other health-related services, including health insurance to patients and the health consuming public. Having said all this, you will now begin to see why we should begin to look at healthcare in Nigeria as a business, apart from the professional angle, which will require some expertise, will require some training, will require some other skills to be able to, for you to be able to participate. But as a business, you must be ready to imbibe the entrepreneurial spirit, the entrepreneurial training, and the entrepreneurial know-how to play effectively in the health sector of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. So you'll be sharing a lot more insight in the course of the webinar. Okay, so
Please, volume.
for everybody here, okay, you have something to say.
I'm still battling with the volume.
Okay, so the objective of the webinar, the goal of this webinar is to build awareness about business growth opportunities in the healthcare sector. We will also be answering questions from the audience. So if you have any questions for the guest speaker, please kindly share in the chat box and we would we'll make sure we answer every one of your questions. We already have a section dedicated to a question and answer section at the end of the webinar. So we'll be going straight into the discussion session now. So I'll be asking Pharmacist Chima a couple of questions that we all expect answers to, and he'll be tackling those questions with his experience and insight in the healthcare sector. Okay. So the first question, Pharmacist Chima, so you have been in this industry for quite a while, and you've also been able to you've acquired knowledge and experience. So can you tell us how you started the business and what your experience has been so far?
Thank you, Deborah. As a community pharmacist, pharmacy owner, healthcare business operator, which today, when I look back, I say, it's been a long journey to where we are today. But as a starter, you really need to come up with some level of capacity and competence in terms of being prepared professionally to engage in what you are expected to do, the services you are expected to render to the community or to the environment where you operate. Basically, every upstarting professional or person who intends to run a healthcare business, first you must be expected to have some form of skill and knowledge professionally. You must be qualified in whatever area you want to engage, in pharmaceutical, laboratory, medical services, or even health management services. So you must be able to come up, first of all, with some skills and training, mentorship, entrepreneurial knowledge, because you are going to be doing two things, a professional services, and you are going to be running a business. So all this requires some form of preparation, some form of readiness in terms of your competence, your capacity. And beyond that, when you have done this, you are expected to also look at your readiness in terms of finance, in terms of initial capital. And when you are able to overcome that, which always is challenging in the environment, Nigeria still remains a low capital environment in terms of business investment. And then you expected to also look at the other variables of that you need to overcome in starting a business. Talking of location, talking of staff recruitment or human resources issues, talking of customer or clients, input or winning their customers and clients. And this may be topping your challenges, but there are also the infrastructural issues that has to do with power, that has to do with even good roads and potable water supply to your facility or wherever you decide to locate. So these things are very, very important. There are challenges that need to be overcome. Personally, I had to find a way of overcoming them, tapping from family sources of capital, tapping from personal savings, tapping from some form of loan from financial institutions. And then initially, we also had to battle with what I would call the right mix in running a business. By this, I mean getting the ecosystem of suppliers and vendors to be in the right state of meeting the products and services demand, which are bound to increase over time. So as you have more increase in supply and product demands and services, you also need to rejig your ecosystem and your operational modalities to be able to adjust effectively. So these are the issues that will always challenge a starter. You must know the basic financial accounting methods. You must be able to know how to separate your income, your sales, divide it into what we call the business finance, the profit, and then be able to reinvest their profit along the line. So these are things that, and be able to also run a very, very visible and profitable venture, because you have bills to pay over time, and you must find a way of meeting all these challenges. Thank you very much. I don't know if that has answered the question.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. So just to recap for everybody that's listening, so Pharmacist Chima said that, okay, I'm sorry. So what he said is that for you, when you want to start an healthcare business, you have to consider a couple of things: your capacity and your readiness. You also have to you also have to consider your financial capacity and variables like location, staff, HR, and customers that you would also be serving. Okay, so we're moving on to the next question. So, okay, so still from the first question, as we already asked, what were the challenges? What has your experience been so far? And you gave us some of your experience. So, what are your greatest business challenges so far, and how did you overcome them? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Control, we cannot get the sound.
We can hear you, sir. But you are muted now.
Okay. So what was the last question? I didn't quite get that. Hello? Hello?
Yes. Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
But the last question is, what are your greatest business challenges so far, and
Yeah.
how have you overcome them?
Yep. I think I've done justice to that. I think that was what I just answered. Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. So basically, yes, you gave a, yes, okay. So you shared your experience in the business industry. So I guess with your experience in the business industry, you also listed some of your business challenges, which included capacity, finance, and
Mentorship.
certain variables like location, staff, and customers.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to overcome them now?
Definitely, like I said, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you are professionally prepared, that means you have undergone some form of training. But the other aspect, which is the business aspect, you must have need to have been mentored to acquire some entrepreneurial experience and knowledge. You also must be ready to meet up with all the regulatory requirements of setting up a health business. As you all know, the health sector is a highly regulated sector. So the regulatory authorities of your particular type of healthcare business, for the pharmaceuticals, you must be able to meet all the requirements from PCN and NAFDAC. You must be able to have satisfied themselves to say that, yes, I have recruited the right caliber of staff and personnel to run this business and to meet our goals, set goals in short-term, medium-term, and long-term basis. So these things are all important. Looking at all this, I can say that having been able to apply, I'm not saying there have not been shortcomings or mistakes or where we did not meet expectations, but we are saying that your overall evaluation at the end of the first 10 years, at the end of the first 15 years, 20 years, should be able to have giving you a very positive outcome of say, yes, I've been able to break even in this business. I've been able to meet up with my, suppliers' demands, and I've been able to meet up with my credit exposure. So these are the things that every startup must battle with and try to overcome. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. So moving on to the next question. Okay, so what are the latest trends in your industry? And do you see these trends as opportunities or threats? So we have a couple of trends. We have financing, we have, yes.
There are always trends, emerging trends that are existing trends, and then emerging trends, and trends that are stopped the sector which operate the health sector in general, IT, and what I will call the virtual period of our civilization. So now you need to be able to adjust your operations, to be able to look at precision medicine for specialized care. You should be able to look at predictive analytics for population health management. You should be able to look at the real-time data visualization and adjust even telehealth. These days, in some countries in Europe and America and Asia, people run what we call the 24-hour smart pharmacy, whereby they employ automated dispensing technology and equipment to be able to render a 24-hour service. In Nigeria, we are not yet there, but we are looking at that possibility in the next few years, if all the necessary infrastructural and administrative issues are addressed, even security issues. Because for you to run a 24 hours operations in the health sector, you must be able to also have other things that will be needed to overcome that. There is pharmacogenomics. Those are trending things, whereby in today's pharma world and therapeutics, people are beginning to match their genome, the individual genome, with specific drugs. Oh, these trends will continue to emerge. The idea, people are beginning to access their medications online, even though it's not legally allowed in Nigeria yet. A lot of legal requirements. It may be trending, but legally, it has to also be looked at in our own environment. So what you have trending in US cannot or may not trade here because of legal, ethical, and other requirements. So talking about trending issues in the profession, we must be ready to adjust our operations. Whatever we do, we must be ready to adjust to new development in the health sector. For the pharmaceutical sector, we're always there, moving from the era of product-based to the era of the patient-based. Today, the emphasis is on the patient, so that we are no longer looking at the product, but we are looking beyond, we are going beyond the product to say, what this product, yes, we have used it over a period of time. Is it still necessary to continue to use it? Are there new molecules that have emerged and evolved over time? And yes, you begin to also look at the economics of the so-called new entrants or new operations, because as business, you must always, like I said earlier, be ready to run the business the way it should be run, with all business consideration. And then professionally, you must also be ready and prepared to render the professional services. So all these things are things that we, as the health sector operatives and as the professionals, are always ready. By training, we are not a static group. The healthcare professionals are not static, because if you look at healthcare delivery in the last 100 years, there has been evolution. There has been trending issues and things, new things have emerged. We have moved from, even at the level of histopathology and radiology, the equipment used 20 years ago are no longer what we use today. There have been new equipment, there have been new procedures, there have been new approach to dealing with health issues and health business. So going forward, as a business, we should always be prepared and ready to convert our business challenges to opportunities. That will make them trend, because when they trend, they have to, justify it, whatever input you have made into ensuring that the professionals are also rendering the right services. So depending on the professional, economic, and social impact of such trending issues, the health sector, especially the pharmaceutical subsector, is and will remain a dynamic one, because every day we have new molecules becoming medicine through the application of new processes and technology. So there's no threat.
Okay.
It's not a threat that we are trending or things are trending in our sector. It's rather an opportunity for us, because the pharma value chain, drug research, drug development, and pre-marketing and post-marketing issues and regulatory issues are always there for us to adjust to, and they will continue to be trending issues in our operation. Hello?
Okay, thank you for that. So basically, in summary, what you said, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you.
We shouldn't see, like, basically the healthcare industry shouldn't see new trends as threats, but
Yes.
basically take them as opportunity to use to innovate
Right.
and grow their businesses.
And grow their business.
Yes.
Definitely.
So since we're still talking about trends, there's this new trend. I wouldn't call it a trend, but the occurrence of COVID-19 this year has brought about a lot of new trends and new opportunities. Regarding that also, it has also changed the way we all do businesses, especially in the healthcare industry too. So what are these changes? And do you think there will be long-term and short-term effects of these changes?
Come again, take the question again. Hello?
Okay, so yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yes. So COVID-19 has changed the way we do businesses, especially in the healthcare industry.
Definitely.
What are these changes and what do you think will be the long-term and short-term effects of these changes?
Thank you. You know, COVID-19, the global pandemic, is a novel disease, and it took the world by surprise. The world was not prepared, including Nigeria, for it. Unlike any emergency, we had no choice than to adjust in everything we do, in the way we live, in the way we do business, even in our movement from one place to another, in our interactions and relationships. So COVID-19 has opened up new visas in terms of our involvement with ourselves, in terms of our involvement with our business, and in terms of finding new ways of doing what we usually do, and maybe doing them better, and taking precautionary measures, preventive measures, to make sure we bring down the impact of this pandemic to the lowest minimum in our system and our environment. Going forward, we are beginning to see businesses collapse. We are beginning to see businesses struggling. We are beginning to see organizations battling with maintaining even their staff, and some have even retrenched, and some have completely closed down, unfortunately. So what it means is that as human beings who are into a dynamic world, we must basically adjust in terms of operational mode and our operational system to be able to meet up with these new challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. And in Nigeria, you have seen that new businesses have come up, hand sanitizers, face masks. Not that they weren't there before now, but the emergence of COVID-19 has also thrown up some new manufacturers and new investors into this area. You know, sanitary equipment, sanitary products, all these things have become new business areas for people to go into and invest. And for those of us who have been in the sector, it was a period of even expanding our operations to ensure we meet up with increasing demand with some of these either the COVID-19 preventing materials, or the COVID-19 management medications, the COVID-19 management equipment. At the time, we know how difficult it was to even get the oxygen equipment for people who are acutely ill with this disease. And then those are business opportunities. And I know some people have also gone into those new areas because for them, it's very, very promising. But there is an ongoing work in Nigeria to ensure that we do not continue to rely on imported materials to manage this pandemic. And those work have been in terms of research, by the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research, located in Abuja, and by all the medical research group, and every other health professional that are involved in managing this unfortunate pandemic. So it's a form of an opening for our business in the health sector. It's a form of new alignment, new collaboration, new period of working together for all health professionals. And then for the business aspect, we are saying that the healthcare industry must continue to be ready to absorb such shock and emergencies with a proper laid out business plan and strategies in the future. Hello.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, so yes, moving on, I would just like to jump to this question. We would like you to share with the audience some important tips for sharing a successful healthcare business in Nigeria.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, yes, I can hear you.
Yep. Come on, I'm with you now.
So we would like you to share with the audience some important tips for starting a successful healthcare business in Nigeria.
Yeah, it goes back to the issue of what needs to be done. You know, when you talk of healthcare business, we have agreed today that healthcare is a business. And if it is a business, every business must have laid down protocols, laid down criteria to start and to run profitably and efficiently. So a profitable healthcare business today, whether it's in the pharmaceutical, whether it's in the medical, laboratory, any other sector, even the manufacturing, importation, and distribution, these are parts of it. And for you to be successful, like I said earlier, knowledge is key, skill is key, entrepreneurial training and know-how is key. Capacity is there for you to be able to even begin to say you are doing well or not doing well. So if you must run a healthcare business, all these things must be taken care of first. And then you begin to look at the issue of financing. Yes, organizations like BizNature are doing great job. Some other ones are also doing great job, but you need to be able to look, because it's a capital intensive area. Is it starting up a pharmacy, starting up a clinic, a hospital, a maternity home, a laboratory services, an ophthalmological center? Any of these part of the healthcare business are capital intensive ventures. And for us, as healthcare professionals, so we continue to appeal to government, continue to appeal to the relevant agencies to be able to design, a sort of formats that will encourage more healthcare professionals and even non-healthcare professionals, maybe what we call investors, into this sector to be able to assess these opportunities provided by the healthcare sector. So you must be ready and able to have all you need to start. Know-how, entrepreneur spirit, entrepreneur knowledge, capital, be able to even consult. There are business consultants on startups. You must be able to consult, and they will give you useful information and ideas on how to go about whatever you plan. Even the issue of location is very, very key. Almost every business must consider location as an important aspect. Then there is the issue of the labor issues, the human resources, because no matter what you do, even for the machines, it must be operated by human beings. So those your staff, your human resources must be top notch, must be able to give them from time to time trainings for updates. You must be able to expose them to new trends, new development in whatever sector you find yourself. And you must be able to adjust to all this in terms of budgeting and in terms of resource allocation. So these are the vital things we need. Of course, there are financing opportunities, loans, government and the private sector financing, and there exist family supports and all that. So partnerships. There's the You Win program currently going on in the country, and there is the SMIDAN, which government have designed to encourage young youths and individuals with very, very wonderful idea for business. So all these things exist there to support, and every young person, every Nigerian who intends to go into the SMEs or small and medium enterprises must consider all these things to be able to actualize whatever goal he has set for him. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. So basically, in summary, tips for starting a successful healthcare business in Nigeria. They need knowledge, they need skills, they need entrepreneurship training, and also mentorship. Also with that, they also need some forms of financing. They have to also consider location and labor. Okay, thank you very much for that. So we'll be moving on to the next question. So we're already at the end, we're almost at the end of the year.
Go ahead.
Yes. What should SME business owners be looking forward to in 2021? Especially in the healthcare sector. Hello, can you hear me?
Are you with me? Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. I can hear you.
Okay, now loud and clear. Thank you. Yes, we all know that 2020 has been a challenging year. Every businessman, every operator, any other person in any sector has been challenged by the pandemic and other issues we have witnessed in 2020. And then going forward in 2021, every SME owner is confident and hopeful of a more peaceful environment, a more peaceful business environment, and increased investment in infrastructure, road, power, good water supply. These are the enabling things you need to operate any successful business. And specifically for 2021, most SME owners will expect from government an increased funding through grants and low interest loans. Let us also commend the CBN that has done so well in 2020. And we hope they will do much better in 2021 for SMEs in terms of low interest loans and grants with little or no collateral. And in addition, SMEs will expect a great improvement in enabling business infrastructure, like I said earlier, power roads and other amenities you need to run a successful business. We are looking forward to a more affordable input in our business. We run generators, the fuel should be more affordable, the diesel should be more affordable. All these are what every SME or operator owner is looking forward to. And then this will increase profitability, and then it also enhance expansion and growth of any business. For 2021, we're also looking at government. It's been in the works for some time. I'm talking of the National Council on Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises. We look forward to having government fully activate this council, which we hope will drive the expected growth in the small and medium sector of our economy, which we all agree remains the engine growth of all economies in the world, and Nigeria cannot be an exception. So the much we can, trigger growth in the SMEs, the better for the economy, the more you reduce unemployment. And so these are the expectations it goes beyond doing the normal things. It's about doing things differently for an improved system and for a greater growth in our operation as small and medium scale enterprise. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much for your answer. And yes, it seems 2021 is going to be an interesting year for business owners. So we're moving on to the next question. So obviously, we at BizNurture provide alternative funding for SMEs. But beyond financial service providers such as Nurture, What other source of business funding is practical for growing businesses in Nigeria, especially in the healthcare sector?
Yeah, we thank BizNature for providing alternative funding for SMEs in Nigeria that have been doing great work. And we also encourage as SMEs that more of such organizations should come up and be able to reach out to a larger number of those who are willing to do business in Nigeria, especially in the health sector. In Nigeria, there are several organizations and financial institutions offering these critical business services, including our commercial bank. And we are looking up to them to come up with better terms in terms of interest rates. You all know that in Europe and some Western countries, it's a single-digit affair. But businesses here are still battling with the double digit. And they can understand that it's all these things limit the rates of growth because money that should have been reinvested into the business, money that should have been available to finance expansion and growth are tied down to paying interest. And we are looking forward to more of such institutions, or the existing ones, coming up with better structures to enhance the operations and growth of SM. It's not impossible. One single-digit interest rate is not impossible. So we are advocating for that. Apart from the commercial banks, okay, most of them have been dealing with the health sector. There's the Medilloan, there's the Fidelity Support Program for pharmacists in the nation, and there are other, I think Zenith and some of them are coming up with their own package. But in all this, the problem, the challenge is the same: collateral, high interest rate. And some of them have gone beyond collateral and say, okay, we will use what they call other evaluation metrics to be able to make the loans available to the operators. Yes, but the issue of collateral remains a big issue because most of us who own properties, who operate in our own facilities, cannot and does not have the certificate of occupancy, which most of the banks normally require. So we are asking that the commercial banks begin to remove these obstacles in terms of our members, in terms of health professionals assessing facilities to be able to develop the health sector more. We should not be afraid of it. We should not be reluctant about it because Nigeria's position today in the world, in the global health index, is nothing to write home about. Very, very poor, very, very poor. And if you look at most of those countries, the top 10 countries in the global health index, you begin to look at the operation. They have a fantastic regulatory environment. They have a fantastic financial support for their business, health business, in terms of single-digit interest rate. And these things will engender growth in the sector. So we also have the other sources of funding for businesses, including the federal government UWIN program I mentioned earlier for youths. We also have the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, the SMEDA, which supports individuals with great business ideas. We also have the local cooperative societies, family and friends, personal finance, fixed deposit conversion. You can use your personal finance in terms of converting your fixed deposit as a source of capital. Some people can sell their shares to generate fund and capital to start up their business. Some people have put resources together to form a partnership. And most of these partnerships, yes, they have their challenges, but they work out well when the necessary checks and balances are put in place. What you have mentioned are banks of the industry and banks of agriculture. Yes, they have been doing their bit, but they need to do more and begin to make the processes of assessing their loans by the big operators and the small operators more friendly, because at the end of the day, the essence of some of these banks, especially the Bank of Industry and Agriculture, is engender growth in the economy in all sectors, including the health sector. And when they do that, they'll be able to reduce unemployment, and we will have a more robust economy. Our GDP will go up. And at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation for everybody. So these are the areas we begin to say, okay, yes, there are other sources of business funding, and they are practical for growing businesses in Nigeria. When they're able to make it accessible, affordable, and friendly to business, then we can be able to say they are out to grow businesses in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So before we round up this discussion and the webinar, do we have any questions from the audience? Does anybody in the audience have any question for Pharmacist Chima? You can share in the chat box. You can just send the chats and we would answer your question. Okay, we have a question. Okay, so from Ola, she said, thank you, Pharmacist Chima. Okay, I'm just waiting for the rest of the question now. Okay, so from Ola, she says, thank you, Pharmacist Chima. You mentioned telehealth. Are there any startups that are doing this telehealth in Nigeria?
Hello. Take that again.
Hello, yes, can you hear me? Okay, the question says, you mentioned telehealth when you were answering a question earlier.
Telehealth.
Are there any yes. So you mentioned virtual, you mentioned something about about people getting their medications online without having to go to a physical location. She said,
Okay.
are there any startups that are doing this in Nigeria?
We
And
cannot.
how can a startup take this opportunity?
Yes, these are areas that will involve a lot of regulatory issues, online access to medication and medicine. Like it's possible in Nigeria, and we do not know as of today a formally registered and recognized organization that does it. But some people do it maybe outside the system, but is a well-developed area in some countries, in some advanced countries. And for us in Nigeria, it remains an ethical and a regulatory issue, which needs to be overcome first. And going forward, I know there has been pressure on regulatory agencies in all phases of the healthcare industry, particularly the pharmaceutical sector, for a sort of adjustment for the pharmacy laws and regulations to be adjusted to accommodate telehealth and then online medicine. But as of today, is not yet a legal operation. It's not yet something I can say, yes, this person or Mr. A or B is already on it, because it's yet to be legalized. So we have to overcome the legal issues, we have to overcome the ethical issues to be able to adopt these emerging trends in global healthcare delivery. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answer. Do we have any other questions from the audience? Any more questions in about time? Okay, I think so I don't think anybody has any questions from the audience, because we seem to have covered most of their doubts and questions that they might have had during the discussion session. Okay, so thank you very much, Pharmacist Chima, for joining us and sharing your insights and experience on healthcare sector in Nigeria, especially on how to build a surviving and thriving healthcare business in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
So do you have anything to say in summary?
Yeah, I want to quickly add that going forward, we may need to adopt the business wire market trend-based strategies for healthcare industry, including adoption of bundled payments, including using digital platforms. There will be need for more collaborations across industries, pharmaceutical, medical, laboratory, pathology, all across the industry, manufacturing, even in importation and distribution. There will also be need for companies to come together to begin to design new ways of engendering this all desired growth in the healthcare industry. Yes, for the pharmaceutical industry, the current focus remains on developing and new medicines and adopting hybrid technologies and methods to ensure that new medicines are available to tackle new healthcare challenges. Looking at COVID-19, today is all about the battle is on for the development and approval of a vaccine. And some companies have attained almost 95% effectiveness in terms of the test and criteria for license. And it is a new time in the healthcare industry. The bottom line is that all these strategies must be harnessed to ensure quality products, quality services, improved delivery, better healthcare, better public health care, and all that. So that at the end of the day, our country, Nigeria, the world, everyone will be happy that healthcare delivery has become something we can be proud of. And then the business aspect can thrive and make impactful contribution to the gross domestic product of our dear nation. So these are the frontiers we are looking at going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pharmacy Chima. Thank you very much. I hope everybody has been able to learn one or two things from this session. Okay, so moving on. So this webinar was brought to you by BizNurture Financial Services Limited. Before we close the session, I'll be inviting a representative from BizNurture to just this out. So,
Okay, thank you.
So I take over now.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Pharmacy Chima. It's been a wonderful opportunity listening to you and learning how one can grow an healthcare business, particularly a pharmaceutical business in Nigeria. I know sharing your insights on the opportunities that exist, from from importation. You've talked about drugs, pre-COVID, those kind of things. And it's really, really very enlightening. So I really want to thank you. So basically what I just want to do now as we wrap up is just to talk a bit about the loans, especially for our audience, talk about the kind of financing that we have at BizNurture. So on this screen, you can see that we have a couple of loans from LPO financing, invoice discounting, working capital loan, firm pre-loan loan, EduBiz loan, and Medi loan. So we have those different opportunities that small and growing businesses can come up to and take advantage of it, and they can get any amount between 500,000 to 5 million. We are very available. It's just by the click of your mouse button, you go to our website and you are able to apply. And then the next slide just talks about a WhatsApp contact number where you can also reach us. So for everybody in attendance, you can reach us. You can also share this webinar because I believe it will be uploaded on our YouTube page. So you can share with people within your community, people that are in this sector that want to learn a bit more about growing a business in pharmaceutical. They can watch the webinar, even they missed, if they're not even able to attend at this time. So yes, I think that's about all from me. Over to you, Deborah. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. So yes, this is BizNurture, and you can visit the website at biznurture.com. to access our loan products. You can also visit our social media pages to also understand a bit more our services and the products that we offer. So before I close this webinar, we have a message from our CEO, Ife Bitokun. She says, "Thank you, Pharmacist Chima. This was a very insightful session, and we appreciate your presence today." I think everybody agrees with her on that. So thank you very much to Pharmacist Chima for sharing your insight. And to every other person that also joined this webinar, thank you for joining the webinar. We've been able to learn from Pharmacist Chima and from the webinar as a whole.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
So with that, I bring the webinar to a close. Thank you very much, and do enjoy the rest of your day.
We did. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.